Hello, bienvenidos, and thank you for joining. My name is Jeff Watson, and over the next 5 minutes, I'd like to show you some information about data breach trends of the last few years and explain my predictions for what we can expect in the future. This project was completed as an assignment for the Data 620 course, section 9041, taught by Professor Mahed Al-Gandour at the University of Maryland University College, fall semester of 2019. Bottom line up front, while the volume of known data breaches itself is semi-erratic, the frequency and the volume of data breaches are growing exponentially, and that is only for the ones we know about. First, I'd like to qualify the data. This data is based on publicly available information. The numbers here represent a known public and verified reporting of data breaches where 30,000 records or more was lost. As such, they represent the bare minimum of security breaches and data loss. The actual numbers will be much higher, and I'll explain why in a few moments. Looking at our first graph, breach trends by sector, we see overall reporting where exponentially increased in 2016, although we do see two different anomalies. The first anomaly here in 2013 with a giant spike in the volume of events, as well as here in the government sector. So specifically in 2018, the government sector reported a large number of events, which previously had far surpassed the frequency of events from the government in the past. The top graph, number of records lost by a year. If we think about how 2004 was like, Facebook, 2006, Twitter, 2007, iPhone, iPad, in 2010. 2010, 10.5 million records were lost. Fairly low, not something we think about, compared to the giant spike in 2013 where 3.7 billion records were lost and 4 billion in 2018. In figure 4, large breach events reported, we see increasing report of events themselves. So the count of events being reported is increasing. In 2009, there were 10. Where we see in 2018, there were 44. That is a huge number increase. If we look at the individual record events by year, so if we cluster them in a heat map by year, we can see there's specific events which are causing these abnormalities to occur. In 2018, the government one, which we talked about in slide 1, was caused by Aadhaar. Aadhaar is essentially, India is trying to become a cashless society. They're using what's calling an Aadhaar number, equivalent to a US Social Security number. That Aadhaar number, you cannot get a bank account without an Aadhaar number. You cannot get a job without an Aadhaar number. You cannot put your child to daycare with an Aadhaar number. There was data breach of those Aadhaar numbers totaling more than 2 billion. 2013, there were 3 billion records lost from Yahoo alone. Interestingly, that information was not disclosed until 2016. So in 2013, 14, 15, you did not know about that. But in December of 2016, that information was disclosed because Yahoo is being bought by Verizon. And as part of the disclosure process, that information became known to the public. How are these events occurring? So we know that they're happening. We know they're happening more often. We know they're happening more frequently. Well, it turns out hacks are the preponderance of frequency of occurrences. So if we look at all these events in blue, hacks are the vast preponderance of what's happening. Insider threat, which used to be what the FBI was most concerned about, and most security professionals were concerned about, is by far the lower record loss, but the information being lost is much more sensitive. What's happening with OOPS? OOPS is a characterization of, through normal business practices, sending emails or daily conversations, things of that nature, where private information is being lost. And that number is actually quite large. So we see over 1 billion with Aadhaar, we see 1 billion with River City Media. Poor security is another frequency occurrence. So this essentially is where you had a password, but the password was password, or the password was 1. Your IT security department, or you yourself, the user, did not take security seriously, and as a result, you were hacked or your information was stolen. What does this mean? So we know that data breaches are occurring. We know that they are occurring frequently. We know that the data itself is being increased. This is a sign of big data, or where you can get more than tons of terabytes of data being lost. This is also a sign of the data being not secured. We can prevent these things from happening through better OPSEC, or operational security, and by taking security seriously. So when you are an IT professional, take that seriously and make sure your password isn't password. This information was brought to us by informationisbeautiful.net. Thank you to the world's biggest data breaches and hacks report that I found there and I used for this report. Thank you for listening and have a wonderful day.